Sparkly Beings, welcome back to my channel. Today we have a 25-minute sequence, and this is kind of a nice mobility sequence for warming you up to get into the splits. And so this is kind of like a warm-up that you might want to do before you try your splits. It's just in general for your hip mobility, and I myself, having broken my pelvic bone and have recovered from it. I don't know whatever recovery means. It's knitted back together, but there's still some scar tissue in that hip joint. And so these are the movements that I do to really help kind of reignite all of that blood flow and oxygen to the area and re-strengthen that area. That way, over time, my body moves more in its natural kinetic chain instead of like a weird false kinetic chain that was created by an imbalance with my muscles and an injury. Ideally, wherever you're at, whether you're recovering from some kind of hip injury, just looking to strengthen it, or you just want to get more flexible in your hips and your legs and you want to be able to do the splits, this is a really good go-to sequence for that. There's like a few postures that are a little bit more on the advanced, but I still walk you through it as if you were a beginner. So if you're not a beginner, then by all means just hold the posture longer. And if you are a beginner, then work your way curiously towards the posture, but don't fight it. Let yourself just kind of feel into it, because that's what yoga is all about, is that connection with yourself and that understanding of where you're at currently. And that doesn't mean that it's good or bad, it just is, right? So all that being said, whenever you're ready, join me on your mat. Begin with me on the top of your mat. Bring your feet about hip-width distance apart. Roll your shoulders down and back. Get nice and long through your spine. Gently sway your body from back to front. Catch yourself on your toes. As you gently lean back, catch yourself on your heels. And come back to center, and let's gently sway from right to left. Feel the edge of your foot pressing into the mat, just getting a sense of where we are. And come back to center. Roll your shoulders down and back, palms towards the front. Engage your core here, engage everything. So think about all of your muscles igniting within your body in our mountain pose. I like to start with this posture because it allows you to fully connect with all of the muscle fibers in your whole body. And release. Go ahead and shake it out. Inhale, raise both arms out and up to gaze up. Lengthen through your spine. Exhale, chin to chest. Press the air away. Inhale, raise both arms out and up to gaze up. As you exhale, turn to face the front of your mat if you haven't already. Chin to your chest, arms to your sides. Inhale, both arms out and up. This time, on your exhale, flat back, swan dive. Generously bend into your knees to catch your torso. Inhale, here, halfway lift, palms to shins, flat back. Exhale, press your palms back to your mat, and this time we're going to heel toe heel, our heels out a little bit wide. So we're going to lengthen through our spine here. Inhale, and on your exhale we're going to come into a low squat. So as low as you can. You don't have to come as deep as me. You can come up a little higher. If you're here, that's totally fine. We're just going to do a few sets of these to warm up the hamstrings and our knees. So inhale, exhale, into your squat. Try to stay long through your spine. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, exhale. Stay in your low squat, and we're going to come into our garland pose. So if you need to bring your feet a little bit wider apart, feel free to do so. Toes are 45-degree angle pressed away from you on the outer edges of your mat. Draw your hands to heart center in prayer. Lengthen through your spine and press your elbows into your knees. And just breathe into your hips. Open that space. And one more breath here. And And gently release your palms to your mat. And lower your knees for your tabletop. So your knees are directly under your hips. And your hands are directly under your shoulders. We're going to do a few cat-cows here. So on your inhale, raise your hips, open your heart to gaze up, lengthen through the crown of your head. Exhale, press the earth away, chin to chest, navel to spine. Really rounding in here. Inhale, open your heart, raise your hips. Exhale, tuck your tailbone, round through your shoulders, press the earth away. Navel to spine, chin to chest. And gently come back to center. From here, we're going to come into our plank. And we're going to move through a vinyasa. So option to lower your knees here. Just make sure that you draw your hips towards the earth as you come down for your chaturanga. Or option to just stay in plank and skip your chaturanga entirely. So inhale, exhale, lower your chest to the earth. Inhale, upward facing dog, tops of your feet into the earth, draw your tailbone down, open to your heart. Exhale, tuck your toes, bend your knees, and raise your hips up and back for downward facing dog. So here you really want to think about rotating your biceps towards the front of the room, draw your shoulder blades down and back, and melt your heart towards your thighs. Now, if you're finding that you're rounding a lot in your lower spine, bend generously into your knees to create length for your spine. This posture can stretch your hamstrings, but ideally it's about not rounding to your spine. So just breathe here. One more breath. And inhale, three-legged dog. Raise your right leg up and back behind you. Engage your glute muscle here. Lengthen through your spine. Inhale. Exhale, rotate your hip open. Let your right foot come behind you. Just for a nice little hip opener here. One more breath. Inhale, come back to center, three-legged dog. And on your exhale, step it through low lunge. Inhale here to lengthen through your spine. And exhale, come into high crescent. Now get nice and rooted in your feet here. You want to think about drawing your hips towards the front of the room. Nice and bent in your front knee as much as you can. And nice and long through that back leg as much as you can. We're going to do a little bit of a sequence of movement here. So inhale here. Exhale, lower your left knee to the ground. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Inhale to rise. Straighten through that front leg. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise, straighten through your front leg. And exhale to lower. Stay here. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, and on your exhale, come in for a twist on the right. So guide your left elbow to the outer edge of that right knee. Lengthen through your spine, toes tucked or not tucked in the back. Keeping them tucked allows more balance and stability. And breathe into the length of your spine and breathe into your twist. So every inhale is an opportunity to create more space, and every exhale is an opportunity to deepen the posture. One more breath here. And exhale, release both hands to the mat. Frame your foot, step back into your low lunge to plank. So come through your version of vinyasa, chaturanga, knees or not. Inhale, upward facing dog, tops of your feet into the earth. Exhale, bend your knees and raise your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Go ahead and walk your dog here. Remember the foundation of your downward facing dog. Once again, bend through your knees to create length for your spine. One more breath here. Then inhale, raise your left leg up and back. Exhale, stack your hips and let your left foot fall behind you for a nice hip stretch here. One more breath. Inhale back to center. Exhale, step your left foot between both hands, low lunge. Inhale here to lengthen through your spine, and exhale, press up for your high crescent. So once again, really root into that back ball of your foot. Stay nice and bent in that front leg. Arms overhead. Inhale here. Exhale, hands to heart center, and gently lower your right knee to the mat. Inhale to rise, extend through your front leg. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise, extend through that front leg. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower, and stay here. Tuck or untuck your back toes. Inhale to lengthen through your spine. And on your exhale, come into your twist on your left. So right elbow on the outside of your left knee. Then really press into your palms, open your heart towards the sky, lengthen through your spine. Every inhale creates space in the length, and every exhale is potentially a deepening. One more breath here. Inhale and exhale. Come back to center. Frame your foot with both hands. Untuck your back toes. Well, tuck your back toes. Lift your back leg and step back for your plank. So once again, come through your chaturanga, your vinyasa. Upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck your toes, bend your knees, and raise your hips up and back for downward facing dog. Reroot yourself here. Really press in all 10 fingers and all 10 toes. Inhale, three-legged dog, right leg up and back. Exhale, step it through, low lunge. Inhale, lengthen through your spine, then exhale, press up for your high crescent. So here, stay nice and long and really root into this front foot because we're going to do some balancing here. So inhale here, exhale, left foot to the front and touch it if you can, or just left foot up. Whatever works for you, find where you're at. And touch, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time, inhale, exhale. This is where it gets tricky. Stay here or extend your leg and grab your big toe with your peace fingers. Left arm straight behind you. Option to start gazing over towards that left shoulder blade. And release. Gently bend into your knee and guide your foot into the crease of your hip if you can, or it's much lower on your leg. That's okay. We're doing standing half lotus. So option to stay here and hold your left foot with your right hand, or to get super fancy, as you don't try to look anywhere else but a focus point in front of you. Inhale, raise your left arm up and back. Exhale. If you can, wrap it around you to grab that big toe and raise your right arm up. Lengthen through your spine. Option to stay where you were. And gently release. Guide your foot down if it needs a little extra help from your hands and shake it out. Inhale, extend long through your spine, lengthen up. Exhale, flat back swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins, flat back. Exhale, palms to the mat and step back for your vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck your toes, bend your knees, and raise your hips up and back for downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Mentally prepare yourself. Root through all 10 fingers and all 10 toes. Lengthen through your spine. Inhale, raise your left leg up and back. Exhale, step it through, low lunge. Inhale here to lengthen, and on your exhale, press up into your high crescent. Now remember, you're going to want to really root into this front leg here because we're going to come into some balancing. So inhale. Exhale to touch your toe. I'm gonna step back to avoid my table. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time, get ready. Inhale. Exhale. Find whatever spot for your leg is good for you. And if you can extend your leg, grab your big toes here with your peace finger. Rotate your right arm back behind you. And start to wander your gaze towards your right thumb. Hold it here. And exhale. Gently come back to center. Bend into your front leg. And this is where we come into our standing half lotus. So, guide your heel towards the crease of your hip joint. Wherever it is for you, it can be lower. You don't have to come into the full posture yet. You know, everything is a journey, right? So just honor where you're at. I'm not trying to do this to show off for you. I'm trying to do this to give you options. Because there are some people who are a little bit more advanced. All right, so if you can, inhale, right arm up and over. Exhale, wrap it around. Maybe bend into your hip to grab your big toe. One side's always going to be a little different than the other. Apparently for me, this side's a little more interesting. So if you feel like you can, reach your left arm up over your head and hold it here as we focus on our gazing point. And one more breath here. And come back to help your leg down if you need to. And shake it out. That was fun. All right, inhale, both arms out and up to lengthen to your spine. Exhale, press the airway, flat back swan dive. Inhale, halfway lift, palms to shins. Exhale, press your palms to the mat, and this time, toe, heel, heel, toe. Your legs out to the edge of your mat here. We're gonna come into those squats, so inhale here, exhale, hips towards the ground. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, hips towards the ground. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, hips towards the ground. Inhale to lengthen, and this time, bring your legs out a little bit wider and let your torso come between your thighs. You might be up here. If you need to brace yourself with your arms or arms on blocks, that is totally fine. Just find where is comfortable for you. And also, you can come into a deeper fold if you do bend your knees a lot here. This will allow more space for your torso to float between your thighs. Just breathe into your hip joints. And release. Go ahead and heel toe heel your feet back towards each other and lower your knees down to the mat. From here, bring your knees out to the sides of your mat. Lengthen through your spine. Bring your big toes together. Sit your hips back on your heels. Inhale here and exhale, come into your child's pose. So option to melt your heart towards your mat, let your chin rest on your mat, or just let your forehead rest on your mat. You can also fold your arms in and either rest your head on the back of your arms folded in, or just the hands folded in, whatever works for you. And just breathe into the length of your spine, breathe into those hip joints. And gently rise. Bring your knees together. And here we're gonna shift our weight from right to left. So we're just gonna kind of move through those knee joints. Just kind of loosening them up. They did a lot of work. And come back to center. So from here, we're gonna come back into our tabletop just for a moment. And you're gonna step your right foot up through your hands. And just lower your hips towards the ground. Now here you can have blocks or not. We're just getting a little bit more of a hip flexor stretch here. Inhale and exhale. We're gonna do some fluid movement here. So we're gonna exhale, come into your half splits. Option to tuck your toes to create balance. Inhale, come back into that low extended lunge. Exhale, press back into your hips. Lengthen through that leg. One more time. Inhale, deep lunge. Exhale, half splits. Stay here in your half splits and just breathe into the back of your leg. You may not be down as far as me. That is totally fine. I've been working at this a long time. So go ahead and, if you feel comfortable, point and flex your toes. Point them away from you, flex them towards you. This is a nice stretch on the back of the knee joint. And gently come back to that low lunge. Press your palms to the mat. Come back to your tabletop just for a brief moment. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So step your left leg through. Get nice and melting into that deep lunge here. Inhale and exhale. Hinge your hips back and come into that half split option to tuck your back toe for balance. Inhale, deep lunge. Exhale. Now you could be up on blocks the whole time. This is totally possible, and you could be moving slower than I am. That's also totally possible. It's important that we honor wherever we're at. Stay here and go ahead and point and flex into that front foot. Point the toes away, flex them towards your face. It's not about perfection, it's about the connection to your mind and muscles. And over time, it will get easier and easier. All right, let's come back into that nice deep lunge. Hold it here for a moment and step back into our tabletop. So bring your right knee in between your hands and let your right foot come out to the side of your mat as much as is possible for you. Lengthen through your back leg. Draw your tailbone down towards the earth. Inhale here to open your heart and stay here, or option to start walking your arms down onto your mat. So you can come with your elbows on the mat, or if you have a deeper range of motion here, you're welcome to walk your heart or your forehead down and melt into your pigeon here. Breathe into that hip joint. Honor where you're at. Imagine your breath as a little white light gliding around any points of tension. Breathe into that space. And gently walk your hands back towards you and come up. And we're going to take our right knee back behind us and guide our left knee in between our hands. Once again, that edge of the foot comes towards the edge of the mat. Lengthen through your spine, lengthen through your back leg. Inhale here. On your exhale, either stay here or walk your elbows down. You can stay here or you can get deeper into your pigeon. Whatever feels right for you. Breathe into that space. Breathe into the length of your spine. Breathe into that hip joint. Maybe right where the glute attaches to the back of that leg. Just whatever needs attention. Yoga is a conversation with your body. Every posture is like a question, and feeling into it gives you the answer. The better we become at listening to our bodies in our practice, it transcends the class and allows us to move through our days with a little bit more awareness on those little micro snags. And gently walk your hands back towards you. This time you can just rotate back onto your left hip and come into a nice seat. So usually we would end with some kind of savasana or something, but today I feel like it was a pretty active class, and savasana can allow you to get a little sleepy. So come into the state of mind in your nice easy sit. So you have the option of sitting on a bolster or block or pillow, whatever works for you. It allows you to create length in your lower spine and helps you open up your hips a little bit more. Bring your palms to your knees and just feel your sit bones on whatever surface you're sitting on. Lengthen through your spine. Inhale from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. And on your exhale, through the crown of your head to the base of your spine. Each inhale, you feel your body gently rise. And each exhale, you feel your body gently get a little deeper and more connected to the earth beneath you. Scanning your body. Go ahead and rotate your hands to where your palms are now facing the sky, open for receiving. And here I invite you to set an intention for how you'd like to show up for the rest of your day. Maybe how you'd like to start tomorrow, depending on when you do this particular sequence. Think about how you want to show up for yourself and how you want to show up for others. And hold that in your heart space. Inhale, raise both arms out and up, press palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center for prayer. Inhale here to lengthen to your spine, and on your exhale, gently hinge at your hips and bow to yourself, thanking yourself for this opportunity to reconnect with your mind, body, and spirit. Namaste. I hope that you feel a lot more capable moving forward from this class, and that it gave you some kind of introspection on yourself and where you're currently at and where you'd like to be, and or how far along you've come and awesome that is. So whatever the case is for you, I hope that you really enjoyed the sequence, and until next time, keep sharing your light, and namaste.